And I think our listeners need to know that you pretty much handle everything that I do that's outside of global.
Yeah.
If I got an issue that something that has to do with global, it goes through Jennifer.
Mm-hmm.
If it's outside of global, it goes through you. We used to have an office. We still have an office next door. Maybe someday we'll.
I went in it today.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's nice.
I haven't been in mine yet lately.
I was shocked. I walked by yours.
But we used to be, 10 feet apart. Now, since COVID came, you go work out of your home, I go work out of my home, everybody works out of their home. Strangely enough, you and I live on the same
main road.
Same main road. And the truth is, does it make any difference whether you're 10 feet apart or whether you're 10 miles apart? We probably communicate about the same as we did when we had a building, because I didn't show up for work much, did I?
It's true.
I remember I used to come in at the crack of noon on a pretty regular basis, several days a week. And then I'd leave out of there probably early afternoon most of the time, unless we had something going on or a meeting here or something. So the truth is, even before we went virtual, we were kind of virtual, weren't we?
We were.
Because we would communicate by phone and by email way more than we communicated in person, which is most certainly the case nowadays.
Yeah.
In fact, you and I actually meet in person about the only time is when you're taking care of my dogs while we're going out of town.
They come by my house.
Yeah.
I do see you a lot that way.
Her and Mark are my dog sitters. And in fact, it turns out that you tell a story about the dogs and your dog.
Well, so not a usual thing that Ron has me do, but I am his dog buyer. I've bought his last 2 dogs. Hunted the first one down.
Golden retrievers.
Golden retrievers, yeah. And Ruby, she's a red golden retriever. She was special. We had to really find a breeder for her. That one was tough. But a few years went by and Ron decided he wanted to surprise Beverly with another golden retriever for Christmas. And told me I could go out and find a golden retriever. And it was exciting. I got to go like pet stores and, play with little puppies. And I must played with like 7 little golden retrievers until finally one day I was, you were teaching, I think, a quick start. Remember you were in St. Augustine and I went to this pet store not far from home and I'm playing with this little puppy. I called Ron at lunch. I'm like, oh my God, it's so cute. I just love this dog. He says, buy it. I get to buy this puppy. And I think it was like the week before Christmas. And Ron and Beverly had plans. They were going to be out of town. And I decide I'm going to take this little puppy home and keep the puppy for a couple of days, just to let the girls, my children play with it. And, we just enjoy the puppy and then send it to Ron and Bev on Christmas morning. So I get home with this puppy, super cute. She's super cute. I'm so happy. The only thing Ron told me that I had to find a female, and it had to be a golden retriever. He didn't care if it was AKC or any of that stuff, but he did care if it was a female. So I get home with this puppy and I had to go to the event. And so I dropped the puppy off with Mark and he'd never had a puppy ever in his whole life. And I'm like, this puppy's so cute. I'm going to leave you with this puppy. And he's fine with that. I leave. I come home late that night, playing with the puppy some more. It's about 8:30 at night. And I'm looking at the puppy and I'm thinking, does this puppy have like an umbilical cord or like, what is going on? Like it looked funny. And I was like, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, and then it's like, it's a boy. But I have papers that say it's a girl, and I'm just, how in the world could this be a boy? I bought a girl, and it's the pet store's closed, and I'm freaking out. I just spent a lot of money on this dog, and it's not my money; it's his money, and I'm like, I'm gonna get killed. It's Christmas time, dogs go like in minutes at pet stores. So, anyways, the next day comes, and Mark he'd fallen for this puppy. And so the next day comes, we go to take the puppy back to the pet store, thank God the little girl puppy was still there. They're like, do you want to take her home? I say, no, you keep him. Like, I don't keep the puppy. So put the little boy back and Mark's like tearing up over the bridge. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? And he's just like, this puppy is so sweet. And I'm like, we don't need another dog. And anyhow, day goes by, day goes by. I got my young one. She's calling me every minute from school, crying, Mom, why can't we have the puppy? I mean, Mark's crying over the puppy. Next thing you know, I talked to Ron. I'm like, you're never going to believe what happened. He was on his 3 o'clock break at the event, and I'm on the phone with him. I'm like, I bought the wrong dog. And he thought it was so funny. And he tells me, you know what you got to do? And I'm like, what? He goes, you better get over there and buy that dog. And that's what I did. So now, which is, I unfortunately Mark's love of his life. I thought I was until he got Bailey. And now I have
So Bailey's the name of the dog.
Bailey, the boy, and Ron has Goldie, his sister.
They're brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
they come visit often.
So every once in a while, my 2 dogs go visit your dog.
Yeah. They love coming to my house.
All right. How in the world did that even come up to begin with?
I mean,
all right. All right. Now you guys,
they're our
you
family.
guys are better now knowing that, right?
Yeah.
Important information for you. Okay.
We love our dogs.
Goldie's what now? 4 years old
They
already?
just turned 4.
Oh my gosh, time flies.
It has flown.
It is. Anyway, by the way, Goldie is now our dog is now a certified what do you call them? Yeah.
She's certified. Is she emotional support?
No. She's a full-fledged service dog.
Service dog.
Service dog with a vest and all. My wife spent 6 months getting her trained as a service dog. All right, dog story over. Back to Tish. All right.
The dog keeper.
When you got hired, I don't know who hired you, but I know it wasn't me because I didn't know you were even being hired till I got back and there you were. And who did hire you?
Danielle Deuce.
Previous COO.
Yep.
Okay. So when you got back, then I had to have my come to Jesus meeting with you.
Yeah, when you came in that day. Yeah.
You hand me a Kleenex.
Yeah, you came in. I remember I was there for hours. I don't remember how many, but I was there for quite a while. I don't know if I got lunch yet or not, but I remember you coming in and sitting me down.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd all warned me. Well, Danielle, during my interview.
Warn you about what?
She warned me like that he made the last one cry. The last few, I think. I don't know how many, but they cry.
Bottle.
Yeah, supposedly. He's never made me cry though. So, but she did warn me that you would make me cry. And so anyhow, you sat me down, and I remember you asked me what I had done before, and I told you how I had done all these loans and such, and you looked at me and told me, I bet you can't even spell the word mortgage.
I don't remember saying that. I'm going to plead innocent on that.
And then he's like, I bet you can't. And I literally was like, yeah, MORTGAGE.
I think you're making that part up, to be honest with you.
True story.
It doesn't sound like something I would say.
Oh, you said all sorts of stuff. You tried to scare me.
All right. Well, I did tell you that I move pretty quick.
You did.
And that I'm not the biggest praise person in the world. You got to have a pat on the back every day when you come to work. I'm not the guy.
This is true.
And that is me. I think you'll confess.
Yeah.
That is me. And that I expected things to be done quickly.
Yeah.
And I expected you to do the duties required of you without me having to tell you everything to do. I remember I call it the come to Jesus meeting.
Yep.
And you learn pretty quickly that I just like to be upfront, address all the elephants in the room, and try to tell it like it is. In fact, I did everything I could to scare you away, if I recall.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
But it didn't work. You stayed.
I did.
So anyway, I'm a little cloudy on the months following that. I'm sure that it took me several months for you to learn what we do and learn how I think and what I expect of you. Do you know how long, give or take, that process was? Because I honestly don't.
Looking back, it's hard to say. I don't remember it either, as far as like how many days or months or whatnot. What I started doing and what I've done over the years is ever evolving, ever changing. I joke sometimes that I've stayed so long because I can't really, nobody would believe me if I update my resume. They really wouldn't believe it. Because we have done so many different things over 18 years. And but I remember the very first project that I did was we wrote your book. It was the
Right.
less I do, the more I make.
About the time you came on, that's what I
Yeah.
was.
You like looked at me and like one day and you were like, I'm gonna write a book. And you decided that was what my focus was gonna be, was writing this book. It was like my first
That wasn't
real
what I do. That was a real estate book.
Fast Cash for
Yeah.
Millionaires. Sorry,
Fast
we've had a
Cash.
lot of books. It's Fast Cash.
Yeah,
Yeah. It was the
it
blue.
was a real estate book.
Yeah. Dearborn Publishing published it.
Yeah, because I remember I wrote it out by hand.
And I still have it. That's
You
gonna
do?
be worth millions someday. Yeah.
Oh, you mean after I
I
croak?
still
you can
have it.
sell
Are you kidding? I'm keeping
Yeah.
that.
So
It's
you really got it?
Literally have your hand.
I wrote by hand.
I keep all your crap. I'm a hoarder with all your notes. You gotta keep his handwritten
I
stuff.
literally
Just in
wrote this
case.
book by hand.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have a iPad back then. We didn't even have an iPhone back then,
No.
and I had no other way to do it. So, and I don't type. I wrote it by hand, and then you typed it, and then I read it and made a few changes. So we did chapter by chapter.
Literally chapter by chapter. And back then our office closed every Christmas, right before and after. So we would close a couple days before it, and about 2 weeks we would be closed, and everybody would have a holiday, and come back at the new year. And but Ron was working on his book, and I wasn't working for you very long. I'd only worked with you a little over a month,
Mhm.
and I remember going out and typing this book. I like set up my own like little office at home, and I got a fax machine at the house, and he was faxing me. And I had to get a fax line. We had a fax line back then.
Yeah.
To get a landline.
Well, I still do. Actually, no, I don't. I just canceled it recently.
Faxes and all that fun
Yeah.
stuff now.
So-
But no, yeah, back then he faxed me if I didn't pick it up, and I type it away.
Hmm.
And that's what we did that Christmas break. I remember, and we finished that book a pretty quick time. Not very long it took him to write a book. Kind of
Yeah,
impressive.
That-
Impressed me. I never seen anybody handwrite an entire book. I mean, it's impressive,
I can handwrite faster than I can type.
and he's accurate.
Plus, I can
Pretty good.
read what I just wrote. And all right, anyway.
Yeah. So to answer, I guess the question was how long so that was our first project. And after that, it just kind of things evolved, things changed. I don't know. He trusts me with different responsibilities. And
I didn't in the beginning.
no, not right away. I mean, that's what I mean. I think it just kind of evolved and into that. I mean, by the end of that first year together, I mean, I had way more responsibilities. Yeah.
Year, but it was well before the year.
No, yeah. But he would give me projects, and it was like here, like the book. It was the book, and then it was okay, you can handle the book, you can handle the book plus this, and it was then the next thing and the next thing and the next thing until
Okay.
you just kept it on.
So basically, as a personal assistant, you just do whatever a task I assign to you, but some of them are on your kind of daily list that you do without communicating with me. What do you do all day now? Not your virtual.
I mean, I do a ton of different things. I do a lot of research, at least in this last year. And I do all sorts of different projects. We haven't had as many houses to manage, but typically that's what I would be totally involved in. But I oversee all of his commercial real estate stuff. We have several projects going on with lots of little things that have to be dealt with day in, day out to get them moving in the right directions. I oversee your mastermind groups and folks that have access to you that not just anyone has access to you, that have to all deal with Fund Me. And so just a whole bunch of different things. Again, I could never even begin to update my resume
That's
because every day is very different than the next.
Well, you handle a lot of emails. I email you stuff all the time. You follow up and do whatever that says to do. Same with texting.
Yeah.
And now that we got Mark, her fiance, as a full-time analyst for our commercial mastermind group, I imagine you handle some of the stuff that he lays on you too.
Yeah, we argue over commercial deals on in and out day on day, hourly basis.
Yeah, we call him the
Hourly.
hourly. I want to say that one more time. Hourly.
We argue a lot.
We call him the Grin Reaper. His job is to find out why the deal won't work real early, save a lot of time and money on due diligence.
Yeah.
All right.
You
So
quote that.
basically, today you do whatever comes at you.
I do.
by myself and or Mark.
Or even just myself.
Oh, yeah. And yourself. Now, so where is the time clock that you punch every day?
And I haven't, as long as I have worked for him, I have never, ever punched a time clock. Not in 18 years.
Never punched the time clock, even when you were in the building next door
No,
and everybody else checking in punched time clock. Well, not everybody. The management didn't punch time clock. Salaried people didn't punch time clock. And you were salaried from the very beginning.
hmm
Okay. Um, well, if that's the case, how do I know you're working?
I named a company after this one. I get shit done. That's how it works. So it's true.
He did name a company after it. GSD.
He had it
Yes.
for years.
Yeah, I didn't know where it came from. I later found out that's where it came from. I said,
It's hard to come up with company names.
you're kidding me.
Yeah.
So
GSD.
anyway, all of our LLCs, which is, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 of them,
At least.
and then the ones in the past, you have formed, up until recently, I had Bob Bloom form one or two for us.
Yeah, he did.
So in prior to 2008, and I don't know when we started, 4, 5, 6, 7, whenever, started buying commercial properties. And one time we had 32 commercial developments going on simultaneously in 9 different states.
We were
And
busy.
I can't say you were managing these properties,
Not all the,
but you were managing the manager who
Yeah.
was in charge of the properties. I know we had an oil reserve up in West Virginia. You loved that one because you couldn't wait to go to West Virginia. And I went up there a couple of times. I told her I'm not going back. You go the next time, and she did. We called that the land of deliverance.
It was.
It was a fun place to go, wasn't it?
It was.
Huh?
It was definitely different.
Yep.
Yeah. Those were the days.
Yeah. So anyway, when then September '08 came, and then we had to wind all that crap down. And so you've been part of that right up to this very day, and we're still fighting off a couple of those people or companies coming after us, which is taking up some time now. We have to produce documents and all of that. So I'm still in lawsuits to this very day concerning what happened in September of 2008. You have managed projects from single family subdivisions that we've built.
Yeah.
And I remember I had 5 of those, if I'm not mistaken, all ready to build vertically on, for the most part, before the crash hit. You've managed, we had some projects in Texas. We had 5 projects in Michigan, including
Water park.
water park.
A water
Fun
park
park.
in Michigan.
Yeah, and then we had a place we was going to put cabins on,
Yeah.
and then we was going to build a hotel and all this cool stuff. And and another, yeah. So anyway, we had a bunch of projects going up there. Sold a project up there. So you were managing all that as well. And we and in the oil reserve, we all learned some pretty good lessons on that one. We learned the oil business.
Which I like the oil business. I mean, the oil and gas business is a fun. I like it. It was interesting. I kind of wish we still had that project now.
Yeah.
Especially now.
Well,
Prices are crazy what they're getting for that stuff these days. But no, I did do all that, and I won't say I miss all of it, but
no.
I do miss some of it. It was a lot of high paced, stressful fun to have so many things going all at once.
Which, in your case, um, killed the boredom.
Yeah.
You always had a lot of stuff going on, and frankly, I'm like you. I can't stand to be bored. That's why I have classic cars in my backyard. I gotta have something to do. Sitting around just
It's
kills me.
easy.
Yeah, it kills me.
Got a rowing machine.
You bought a rowing
I
machine?
actually use it. It's crazy.
Well,
I love it.
I've got a treadmill right there in my living room.
Yeah, I've seen it. I almost thought I might want to have it if you don't want to use it.
I think it still works. I'm not sure. Right in my living room is a treadmill. I used it some. Probably ought to get my butt back on it. So today, you manage from a distance, and you handle all real estate deals, period. You handle all any other kind of deals, period. You even handle my cars.
I do.
I'm whatever it takes to handle the cars, in or out. And you do whatever research that I ask you to do. And so tell me, how often do we actually talk?
I mean, lately, not as much. I mean, probably, we talk a couple of times, I would say a week,
Mm-hmm.
but
Email back and forth.
yeah. Oh, well, no, I mean, if you include emails and all that stuff, way more than that, but daily, if you include that.
Yeah.
But actually on the phone or in person, it's a week at least. I've never gone like a week and not talked to you. That'd be crazy. But it's not really that different than it was in 2003. I mean, because back then you were always gone. I mean, you were on the road
I was way more active.
3 weeks a month, and if you were on the road, I was in West Virginia,
Mhm.
and dealing with that oil and gas business. So, I mean, we would cross paths, but we weren't always in the same place at the same time.
Yeah. So basically we were virtual.
Yeah.
Even
We
back
were
then.
virtual back
I
when
mean-
virtual wasn't even cool.
I didn't realize until we went full-fledged virtual how virtual we were before,
Right.
even in real estate business. I mean, the only thing I did was go visit the house that I don't do now. Everything was virtual. Closings were virtual. We didn't go to some room and buyer and seller meet or any of that kind of
Right.
nonsense.
Isn't that
So
much different?
COVID didn't change real estate business, and it didn't for most of my students as well. Most of them did better during 2020 than they did in 2019.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. So, you handle a lot of how many emails would you say you handle in a day's time?
Way less than I used to. But I mean, any given day, well over, 40 or 50 different subjects, emails of some sort.
Um,
We have a lot of different varieties of things going back and forth constantly. So
okay.
way more in the past. Since he got his own iPad, I don't get as many emails as I used to, or directly for him.
You ever get me
Is
a new
he-
iPad?
Oh, not yet. Actually, want to talk to John.
Yeah, she contacted me the
We
other
have
day.
too many choices.
Yeah, they got this fancy new iPad out there right now. You ought to get one. What'd I say?
Why first? And then he's like, yeah, give me one.
Yeah, get me one.